Hey everyone, welcome to Funk Family Showcase. I can't for the life of me remember what episode it is, but we are up there. We are in our 20s. It's like Funk Family Showcase has reached adulthood. So you can follow us on YouTube. Just subscribe to our page, Funkadelic Studios, Funk Family Showcase. And I have today a special guest. We have here the perennial millennial himself, Evan Alexander Moore.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. We kind of look like we're two different species of animals. But that's why we had to move the cameras, because he's 2 feet taller than I am. But other than that, we're dealing with it. So Evan is such an interesting character. He's one of these. A lot of our guests have been these really worldly people who are very experienced in different areas of life, and they just bring that into their music. And I feel like Evan definitely has that quality, because he. Is it true that you're going to grad school for psychology?
Yes. So I'm going to grad school for psychology. I want to study and become a therapist, a counselor, and kind of basically learn the craft of learning about people and learning how to help them. So,
I think that's really cool. And would you say that skill applies to your music and to your songwriting in a way?
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of it is kind of, especially songs with characters or stories around them. I try to get into the psychology and really try to understand why this character is doing whatever it is they're doing, and kind of getting the psychology of the narrator versus the characters in the story. Because I play folk music,
mm-hmm.
Folk is so contingent upon story and upon people. So I think it's actually a marriage that actually works.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think that that's a really astute way of putting it. Because you probably know a lot more about the history of folk music than I do. I'm actually taking an anthropology class in school, and they mentioned Bob Dylan in my mm-hmm. actual class, and I know he's one of your big influences. So
for sure.
It's really interesting because I actually he got mentioned in 2 of my academic courses this year. Mm-hmm. One of my Hebrew history professor actually said that he teaches a class on Bob Dylan, and it calls his music the music of tragedy, tragedy as a genre. And so I was wondering what your take on it was, and how Bob Dylan influences you, and how you sort of see yourself as part of the new shape of folk to come.
Yeah.
To coin a term of yours.
Well, define what you mean by take on that. I heard you use that terminology.
Well, I guess your interpretation of what folk music really is, and where it's going, and what you're doing.
I have some of the people who grew up on Bob Dylan may totally disavow what I say here, but I think to me folk music is music of the people, and just even I'm not well versed in every single tradition, but it's what I said it is. It's the music of folks. And it's all about being very simple with your instrumentation,
right.
And it's just about picking up something like a guitar, and just playing a song and playing around your friends and playing around, the town, the village. Everywhere you go, there's some sort of folk tradition, whether it's Scottish folk, there's Spanish folk, then there's American folk, and then there's Irish folk and English folk music.
Yeah.
It's really just about being very simple and being accessible to people, and that's what folk music means to me.
Right.
And I think where folk music is now is obviously it's been kind of coined and turned into if you have a guitar and you're playing and you're playing the guitar, then you're playing what people might consider folk music. But in my opinion, I think folk music has become, just because it's been so heavily doctored and moved around, and it's become kind of like a rich man's type of music, in my opinion.
Interesting.
I actually think hip hop is folk music now. It's so easy. All you need to do is just press play, and if you have a mic, or if you're just hanging around with friends and you just play some kind of loop of something, that's way more accessible than it is to buy a $150, $200 guitar. Really, with that, you just need access to internet, and you know, back in the 70s and 80s when the tradition was first coming along, it was really just like, okay, I have this record player, I'm gonna spin something and maybe like get some kind of loop out of it, and it was really just, hip hop is so grassroots, and it's the same kind of grassroots that folk music used to be.
That's a really great explanation. You should like write a whole dissertation on that.
I would like to. That'd be really fun.
You should put it on your blog or your website or whatever. Okay, so let's get into your first song, and then I'll ask you about your new project, about everything. And
sure.
Don't worry, I'm going to ask you lots of other things. But what's the name of this first song?
This first song is it's a very long song, so I'm going to do the second half of it. It is part 2 of The Tired and Poor.
Okay, great.
Children go? Are they torn from their mothers with no reason or plan? Will they get into gangs or sold into slavers' hands? Where, oh where did the 1,500 children go? Where, oh where did the 1,500 children go? Are they thrown into cages? Do they sleep on the floor? Are they praying to a god that's on our dollars and quarters? Where, oh where did the 1,500 children go? 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 Everyone says they would fight off a Nazi until it's the brown kid getting torn from his family. I hope their parents that are seeking asylum find silver linings in the jails that we send them. Escaping wars just to become a criminal. Divide families in a nation indivisible. What's it really about? Keeping us all safe? Or is it deep-seated hate from another race? Well, I hope what you've done's gonna keep you awake, and it rips at your conscience till you're dead in the grave. Have you taken children, sent them to broken homes? ICE, La Migra, American Gestapo. Where, oh where did the 1,500 children go? Where, oh where did the 1,500 children go? Go. I guess we don't need the tired and wired, the undesired and poor.
What's up, y'all? It's your man Fuge, and I'm here at Funkadelic Studios. We do a show here every second Saturday. It's called Level Up Showcase, and it features youth performers and veteran artists, some of the best in the city and out of the city. So do you want to perform? Do you want to level up? Hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at Level Up Showcase. Every second Saturday. I'll see y'all here.
Wow, that was really touching. That song got to me. I feel like, wow. It's that song. I think I know what it was about. It's about our current administration a little bit.
Yes, it is.
Some people call him Fart. I'm not going to say his name.
Mr. Fart.
Mr. Fart.
I don't care to say his name. I'd rather talk about.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about the people that not only him but many people are choosing to affect.
Yeah. No, please explain that, because I feel like it got to me, because it's sort of the word tired and poor, like that was originally the slogan. Is that originally the motto of America was like the Statue of Liberty, holding your torch, and it was like the slogan at some point was like, bring us your tired and your poor. And so that song is about like, we don't need them. It's like we're gonna turn everybody away.
Well, I mean, it's not saying that.
No, I know it's not. It's like pointing to the people. That's what they're saying.
How the people in power who so hold up the ideals of America are really not adhering to them at all. They don't really care about
They're hypocrites.
About it. They're hypocrites.
I feel like that's such an important and relevant song for what we're going through today, and it's like it's really moving to listen to it.
Thank you so much.
And it's like that line about like the Nazis, where it's like I say I'd kill a Nazi, but when it's a brown kid whose life is at stake, I don't care. Like it's so it's like it's so amazing how some people only look out for their own. Yeah, and I feel like it's really in the spirit of folk music and like the Joan Baez and Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell tradition to like write about like social issues that are relevant, but I feel like they keep coming up over time.
And I'm one who thinks traditional folk music has kind of strayed away from it. Like I believe the last huge just groundbreaking folk album, I say groundbreaking in big air quotes, is probably Mumford & Sons, maybe Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah. And
they have some good songs, but it just really doesn't fit that how I see folk music, which was really very kind of punk and cared about social issues.
Right.
Woody Guthrie famously had on his guitar right up on the top and around. It said "This machine," it was one little spot right here, and written on his guitar it said "This machine kills fascists."
Yeah, that's still a very famous quote. I think that was also mentioned in my anthropology class. Like I think it says something that like 2 academic courses at Hunter College mentioned folk music and folk like people who were like folk sensations back in the day, because I feel like that it says that it's still having profound effects and it's going down in history what some of these people have done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. So is this is going on your new album, right?
That's on my EP, which is out right now. It's self-produced, kind of like a little bedroom folk album. And that is the second part of one song. It's a whole like 5-minute song.
I know the rest of it.
I don't want to take up so much time, but that's the second half of the song "Tired and Poor." It's a little 7-song thing. It's on everything. Yeah. The next project is called The Perennial Millennium.
Right. And can you explain? I love that title so much, and I know what it means because we're friends, and like you told me, and also because I looked it up. But it's such a great I love that title. So just explain to the audience what that means and how it's
perennial millennial.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes from the idea of flowers. Perennial flower is one that doesn't die as the seasons change, and it just so happens to rhyme with millennial, which is one of those generations where they're either mistaken for the what they're calling the Gen Z or the I generation, so they're mistaken a lot for that, and they're just always blamed for any societal ill or any industry that is failing, and they pundits, writers, baby boomers like to go, oh well, this bad thing is happening. It must be those darn kids. It must be those darn kids. So I wanted to write an album just about that idea of like, oh well, we're destroying everything. Is that right? And kind of question that, and then obviously there are just a bunch of songs that aren't about that necessarily, but it's definitely like focused on that. And there's a loose concept going through the album. That's so cool, and just to respond to that, I think it's pretty hypocritical of baby boomers to talk about us that way. Yeah. Because I think we're called the echo boomers actually. That's another nickname for the millennial generation. And I think I could be like his older sister. I'm the same generation. I'm like a few years older, but we're the same generation. So it's some people refer to us as the echo boomers.
because a lot of us are the children of baby boomers, and so whatever we are doing wrong, it's like because of what they taught us. But also, I feel like it's so that concept is so interesting in terms of your album and in terms of your style, because like the people who influenced the baby boomer generation were the Bob Dylans, and the people who had the people who were doing like the big folk renaissance that came in the '60s.
Yeah.
And I feel like now it's almost like we're a continuation of that in a way, or we're kind of like we're echoing that. We're definitely like, I feel like we're like the neo hippies or something. There's like a thesis to be made for that, and I feel like you're definitely bringing it out in your songwriting. So could you we're gonna move into your next song, and you could explain like how that applies. This is from is this from the album?
Yes, this is from the album. Mm-hmm.
And so what's the name of the song?
The name of the song is Background Actors.
Oh, cool. So explain what that's about.
Background Actors is kind of a little bit of a manifesto for millennials, but it's also about feeling like the people in your life don't treat you as a human, but treat you as kind of like, oh, you're meant as a background actor. You're not a lead character in their life. So that's what that's about.
I can relate to that. I can identify. Okay, let's hear it.
With all the destruction, all the depravity, and all the construction here. Oh, everyone's gonna look down on you like an alien specimen. But I ain't Sigourney Weaver, I ain't Richard Dreyfuss circa 1977. But I just want a job and I want some security. Goddamn human, not a commodity. And I don't wanna be a background actor for your part. And I don't wanna be a background actor for your part. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Closing up its doors, everybody's cashing checks out Wells Fargo, and I'm okay with being a part of the machine, but I don't want to be a part of your movie scenes. Oh, I just got some shit I need to own, and I gotta do it all alone. No one can hear you scream into your space heater, so don't ask me nothing, I won't ask you neither. But I just want a job and I want some security. Yeah, I'm a goddamn human, not a commodity. And I don't want to be a background actor for your party. And I don't want to be a background actor for your party. Oh well, oh now do it. Leonardo DiCaprio ain't coming up to sweep you off your feet, baby. Johnny Depp, though, no one's out here shooting. And I don't want to be a background actor for your party. And I don't want to be a background actor for your party. No, 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 no.
What's going on, guys? This is Josh here, also known as J La Soul. I am the host and the creator of the Soul Sessions that are here at Funkadelic Studios every last Friday of the month. Alright, so please come out. And the Soul Sessions are a exactly that. They are a session for everyone's souls. You know, like life is crazy. Everyone has their challenges and their tribulations. Soul Sessions is a place where you come, just get that healing from music and just the vibes that are around in the area, and from all the different kinds of artists. So please come out. We have 10 open micers. Anyone can sign up for that. So it's show early, and we have 3 amazing features for you guys every time to just blow your mind. So definitely come out every last Friday, and we hope to see you guys.
Okay, so that was Background Actor from the new album Perennial Millennial. So
Yes.
you have a fundraiser for that, right?
Yes,
Online.
I have a fundraiser. It's up on Indiegogo.com. You can go to my Facebook, my Instagram, and find it there. And yeah, we're trying to. I don't know why I'm saying we. Trying to raise $3,000 for recording as well as advertising and music video if there is extra for that. So
Nice.
we're about 2 weeks in. We got about 2.5 weeks left on it. So crossing my fingers and hope I can make an album.
The Perennial Millennial, Evan
Yeah.
Alexander Moore. Donate to his campaign. Donate.
Donate.
You'll be very happy with the results.
Yeah, you can get, if you donate, you can not only get a copy of the album, but you can also get vinyl, you can get personalized poetry, birthday songs, a demos album for said album, and then one of my favorites, I hope people utilize it, is you can dare me to do things. So you can dare me to drink hot sauce or to whatever you want, whatever people want me to do, as long as it doesn't threaten my life or anything.
Yeah. So all you sociopaths, you can't join in the fun.
Yeah.
But only nice people can donate to the campaign and ask for stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, only nice people. But that's fine. 96% of the population is nice people. Only 4% is sociopaths, right? You would know. You're a psychologist.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that one.
Oh my
Or
God.
maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, there are different theories. But anyway, so yeah, I love that song. I feel like I don't know any other songs about background actors, but I think it's it's a really cool song. I like it a lot. I like what you did with your voice at the end.
Oh yeah.
So I want to ask you about how you first got into music. Do you have any formal training? Because I know you have a really great instrument. You sort of remind me of Johnny Cash when you use your lower register, and you sort of you sound like you could sing any type of music.
Well, no, I do not have any classical training. I started singing because my high school was doing Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh my God!
And my little sister, who was huge theater buff, was like, Evan, you need to be a part of this. You need to do it. And I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Musicals are dumb. Not about it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then, but she eventually got me to do it, and she pushed me and helped me to audition. And then I got the role of the plant. Oh
my God! I forgot. You told me this.
Yeah. And so
God.
I did pretty well, and then before I went to a vocal teacher to kind of hone it and hone that kind of lower register for the role. And then ever since then, I've been sort of into singing, but I was more interested in the acting side of it as far as musical theater goes.
Right.
But that was my first kind of foray into that. And I actually had a garage band in high school called we were called the Marching Gnomes, and I played the drums. And for that, I really just knew all about rhythm, but I didn't really know how to write any songs. But that was kind of part of the foray into writing. Was I would try to write songs and be kind of like a Ringo or something.
Oh wow!
And, so I never got to have a song with the band because I was not a good writer. But that was still probably the first foray into music and making music for me, was being
in high school,
the drummer for that band.
That's cool.
College rolls around. My sister has a Fender guitar that she never uses, And so I kind of barter with her and am able to take the guitar up to college just to mess around and just have something to kind of put creative energy into. And it wasn't until I had graduated college that a friend of mine told me to listen to Bob Dylan. And
oh wow!
Very specifically, like, and I knew of Bob Dylan. I heard all the famous songs, and listened to like Highway 61. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. And then she was like, no, you need to like listen. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And I like put it on. I think I was listening to Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, and it just clicked. There was just some mechanism in my brain that just went, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, I get it. And then from there, that was the beginning. I was like, okay, now I need to write. And so I just wrote, and it was all awful until I got to one song, which is on my EP called When Home Isn't Home. It was the first song I wrote where I was like, oh wait, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm gonna do.
Oh my god.
And so from there, it's just been, it's just been uphill, just kind of like working through, writer's blocks and finding amazing songs and then finding great lyrics, and then just kind of,
Yeah.
That was the start of the journey.
Wow, that's a great story, because I feel like I knew a few of those things, but I never knew like the entire story. And I always find it interesting when people come to singing and songwriting, performing as adults for the first time, and I was kind of like that too. Like I didn't start writing songs until I was 21, and I didn't really write any. I wrote some awful stuff when I was a teenager, and then I threw it away. Like I had all these unfinished lyrics, and then like one day I was just really angry, and I wrote this really angry song. It's called I Want to Shake Her Hand. And like when I was 21, I was like, okay, it came out. Because sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes you need to reach like adult maturity before you you get into stuff. You don't always have to be like 7 years old playing the violin or whatever. And I feel like people need to know that you can find music in any sort of way and at any age. Yeah. You don't have to be like 2 years old and at the classical piano. But it's great. It's great if you are. Like either way, it's fine. And it's sort of that's so interesting. And I think you have so much talent too, because you sound like you could sing any genre, but you don't have that much formal training. And I think people need to also know you don't necessarily have to have formal training to sound good. Sometimes you can teach yourself. I mean, formal training is nice, and like they can help you get a head start. But like if you have the instinct for it, like you can do it, either way. Yeah, as long as you're, putting yourself out there and you're being true to yourself, you're a step ahead of any classically trained musician and who may have just no idea how to write a good song or write a touching lyric, but you have someone who like doesn't know how to sing, doesn't know how to write songs. One of my favorite artists is Daniel Johnston. He has the voice of a dying cat, and he plays guitar like this. Oh my god. With his thumb, and it's real. Thumb. Oh my god. But he lives in Austin, and he's a legend around there. Wow. Because he would just like write and just perform on the spot into little tapes, and then he would just kind of like go around Austin handing them out. Oh my god. And this was in the 80s, and he finally like got to prominence in the 90s because everyone started like, yo, this guy's an amazing songwriter. Wow. And they have his really famous "Hi, how are you" mural up in Austin. Like everyone goes and takes pictures there. Oh my god! But yeah, so he had no training at all. He did not have the best voice, both tonally and even pitch wise. Not the best guitarist. But if you listen to some of his songs and you listen to some of his lyrics, you cannot deny that he was not at least, some semblance of an amazing writer. That's really cool. I think like that's the thing about art and about the performing arts in particular. I think especially about singing, being a singer-songwriter, it's like there's a certain point where somebody breaks all the rules, and it's still great. Like, and I think that's what we need to like remember, because it's hard. There's a lot of tension, I feel like, in the artistic world about that, because I have a classical background, and like I love classical music, but some of the people in that world were like super strict, and it's like you have to learn this, you have to know how to do counterpoint, which nobody even uses anymore, literally. Like nobody writes with counterpoint. So it's kind of like you have to study it and then like never apply it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think like in terms of music, in terms of being a singer-songwriter, I feel like individuality is one of the most important things, that you have your own staple on things, and that sort of, sometimes that can like just take what people think are the rules of success and just like throw it out and create a whole new thing that's unprecedented, which I think is why I became a singer-songwriter, and probably like one of the reasons that it appeals to you as well. So what else? And I need to ask you about your Texan heritage, because I always love to ask people about where they're from, and how that influences their songwriting skills.
Texas heritage. Well, I mean, so many amazing musicians from across the genre spectrum are from there.
Yeah.
George Strait, Lyle Lovett. I don't think Johnny Cash wasn't from Texas, but he definitely wrote a couple songs about Texas, if I remember correctly. St. Vincent is from there. Erykah Badu, Beyonce, obviously, Travis Scott, DJ Screw, UGK, rest in peace, Pimp C, and yeah, there are just so many amazing artists from the state of Texas, and it's so varied, because like I said, you have amazing like R&B stars like Erykah Badu and like all R&B. Then you have pop with Beyonce, and then you have hip hop with Travis Scott and UGK and Ghetto Boys, and then all the way over in the country scene you got Lyle Lovett, and you got George Strait, and then even over in the alt rock and the indie rock scene you have St. Vincent, who is practically like a guitar legend, and she's amazing. So I think that was the influence of Texas, is just bringing in all these different things and trying to like incorporate it and make it my own somehow. Plus just the flat, just long-reaching lands, Whataburger, Tex-Mex. That's kind of the influence there.
Interesting.
That doesn't show up in the music, but
it's still in there in your subconscious mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, how did you decide to come to New York? Like, what's the relation? How's that been for you? Like being a Texan and then going to New York. Was it a culture shock, or was it like fun? Was it nice? And blah, blah?
Well, I'm from Houston. Houston's a huge city, although it's huge in kind of like in length and distance.
You have to drive.
New York is very much like probably as big as Houston, but just consolidated onto one, island and 5 boroughs. So there's definitely like culture shock in getting used to stuff. Also, you guys don't have Whataburger or good Tex-Mex, so yeah, exactly. But you guys have the pizza. You guys got the pizza, the Italian, the bagels.
The bagels, yeah, the Polish and Jewish bakeries.
Yeah, and delis. Oh my God, that was such a saving grace in my life, was delis and figuring out that I could get a meal for $6. I was like, how am I gonna make it? And then I walk in the deli and it's like, oh, $6 for this amazing sandwich.
Yeah,
hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, New York can be expensive, but there are these hidden gems of food that you need to find, and that sometimes they will be in delis. Like you can get a really good deal. There's one in my neighborhood, Washington Heights. Yeah, that's so cool. So you sort of, I feel like you fit in here pretty well, because I feel like it's the Houston and the
Houston's like about to be coming up on being the 3rd biggest city. I think it's about to overtake Chicago.
Are you serious?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. And the weather's
Houston right now is already like the fourth largest city. And the weather in Houston is amazing when it's not summer. But
right now it's like 65 degrees or something, or like 75 degrees there.
It's easy pickings for New Yorkers.
I can't imagine.
You guys will definitely struggle in
learning how to drive.
If you're a New Yorker and you live in Houston, you're gonna struggle in the summer. Oh, you are gonna hate it. People could fry eggs on the ground.
That's interesting. I sort of in New York.
Not really, but you could.
In New York, we have freezing and boiling. We have like 2 extremes. We don't really get. So I feel like I prefer like boiling and moderate to boiling and freezing if I were to move there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'd also have to learn how to drive. New Yorkers, some of us like reach adulthood without ever learning how to drive.
That was a weird thing for me coming
really
here. I was like, oh yeah, I know how to drive, and then
we're like, you're a god.
Like,
could you hear our new prince?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As far as like getting to New York, that was really all Bob Dylan's doing. That was all Bob Dylan's doing. Plus, there were kind of like some extra factors in there. Like I knew I wanted to go to grad school, and I knew I wanted to get out of Texas.
Right. Yeah.
And experience a different city, a different life, and so those two mixed in with me discovering Bob Dylan and me having this like musical reawakening made me go, let's follow in the footsteps of my icon in life, and let's pack it up and go to New York and see what happens.
That's so inspiring.
Now I'm here following that dream.
So do you want to do? What's your next song that we're gonna do?
My next song is "Backbone of America," and I would like you to sing backup on it.
And can you tell us what the song's about?
The
you give an intro.
The Backbone of America. It is about the things about America that have been ingrained with us for history. The backbone where everything kind of starts, the DNA of America, and it's kind of about that. It goes through 5 different verses that kind of analyze what the backbone of America is. And so, yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll ask you more about it later. Let's do the song.
I hear broken echo down the maternity ward, where newborn babies are passing notes, discussing the next world war. Your sergeant came by, your sons died in Iraq. Now I know what they were talking about. Now they were talking about the backbone of America. Out by the river in Mississippi, goddamn, I hear murmurs down the trail. Friends of mine going deaf or blind, slurs hurled their way. And he was walking with melanin and shot him in the back. Now I know what they were talking about. Now they were talking about the backbone of America. Whispers over the dinner table, parents talking working class walls, all the crippled balls of economy. Yeah, the bankers never saw jailbirds, no. Now I'm waist deep in the Hudson, scrounging around. Now I know what my parents were talking about. They were talking about the backbone of America. I found amphetamine in a Texas dive bar. But the land of the free, she was calling me, asking for a better way. Out on the highway, I saw the sunrise. I asked a vagabond if I could be reborn. See, they issued a draft and they raised my taxes, asking for all I had and more. Kept going, but I didn't give up hope. I had found what I was looking for. All thanks to the backbone of America. Well, for every painful knock in my back, there's another that's gonna push us forward. For every bone that takes us away, the ones that we love. It's another that's gonna give us hope. Yeah, I hear it in every friend, every philosophy, every singer that's ever inspired me. They were singing about the backbone up. Put your middle fingers up to the backbone up. Oh, who gives a fuck about the backbone up? Oh, well, let's raise a glass to the backbone of America.
If you are a musician in NYC and you haven't visited Funkadelic Studios yet, what are you waiting for? We've been around for about a quarter of a century, offering services to musicians of all skill levels. Some of the services we offer are rental, repair, recording studio, rehearsal space, rock and roll club, and of course, retail. That's right, we can sell you equipment. And you can even do your events here. We have a beautiful, spacious room right back there. It's called Room 1, and we have lots of other rooms where you can do lots of other things. So come on down. That was Backbone of America. Yeah, I love singing on that. We do like the instrumentation on the album is really cool. There's a banjo on it.
There's a banjo. We have a saw, and then like piano, bass, electric guitar, and then her amazing vocals are also on that track.
It's super fun to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we should wrap things up because it's a very long episode. But it's like, I love that song because I feel like it shows the dark side of America too. Like it shows the balance of like good and bad and how we associate these things with traditional American values. But they're actually like kind of nasty, some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're nasty, but I tried with the song to be also, fair and capture what I think, the founders of America were trying to get to, which was, highlight that people are also amazing and they can cry for each other and they can keep moving forward despite indifference and differences and
Cool. All right. Well, this has been great having you, Evan Alexander Moore, the perennial millennial.
Yes.
And so just follow him on Facebook. So do you go by Alexander Moore most of the time, or
I go by my full
Evan
Alexander Moore.
Evan Alexander Moore. So just find him on all the media, Facebook, website, and donate to that campaign so you can see,
donate to the
so you can hear the wonderful music.
So you guys can hear not only that song, but also background actors, which I played today, and then all the other songs I've got cooking up here in a full length album thing. So
Cool. All right. Funk Family Showcase. Evan Alexander Moore, perennial millennial, Samantha Echo, and Jade and Troy are helping out with the camera work and the social media. Yay!
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them, Jade and Troy. All right. Bye, everyone.